What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, checking out the new Vanquish Soul archetype. I don't know anything about it other than that it exists, so let's just go ahead and look through it. This is a level 4 fire. This is a warrior. Shout out to Rhoda. Kind of just have this lingering feeling that Rhoda is going to become unlimited, or like semi-limited soon. I can kind of feel it in my bones, and this would definitely be a selling point for that. But okay. You can only use each of the first and second effects of this card once per turn. Also, that cannot be activated in the same chain. Okay. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one non-warrior Vanquish Soul monster from your deck to your hand. You can't complain about that, that's for sure. It is effect no matter how it gets on the board. You can reveal A monsters in your hand with each of the following attributes. Apply one of the following effects. Fire. This turn, this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. Fire and Dark destroy all of their monsters in this card's column. Yeah, I think that's very good. It searches no matter how it's brought out. And then, it looks like you're going to have them in your hand, and you're going to be able to do some other stuff. I think they're all different attributes. So it says Dark, and the other one was what, Fire? So there's what, two darks, one fire. So you have to, well, I mean, I guess you could have anything, right? You're going to be running Ash, you're going to be running all these other cards. Ghost Bell, you're probably running. If you think it's that important, you can just like reveal those. Okay, I mean, that's a good start. It's definitely not a bad way. This reminds me of like Libromancer, the way that the art looks. This is Vanquish Soul Pantella. This is also a warrior. This one's an Earth Warrior. If you control no monsters in your main monster zone, shout out to like Sky Strikers, I guess. You can special summon this card from your hand. Yeah, that's oh, I think there's a link one too. So right, if you normal summon this, bring it out. Yeah, I mean you could do a lot of cool stuff. So that's definitely good. You can reveal monsters and apply one of these effects. Cool that they're all... This is cool, especially if this is a quick effect. Like destroy... If you put this in the, in the link zone that your opponent controls, that's obviously a very good thing you can do as a quick effect. Okay. Earth, this turn it cannot be destroyed by battle. Destroy all other spell traps in this card's column. It's nice that it's a quick effect, a little bit strange. Yeah, I mean, Earth and Fire... That's fire, and I think the other one, there's two earth. I think there's two of each type, right? 2 fire, 2 dark. I can get behind that. It's the column stuff's a little unfortunate. I don't know if this works with like. I always think of S-Force because of columns. It feels like this is splashable and other things. These feel so generic, and I think I've already seen some generic like I sold boards on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that's always a thing. That's kind of the unfortunate part about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that like. So much of this new support that comes out, especially like Super Heavy Samurai, it just becomes combo deck that essentially turns out the same board for everybody. But I do like some of the very interesting things that they all have two good effects, right? Destroying a card in a column is good. Destroying a spell and trap is good for main monsters, and this is a free special summon. Okay, this is a level 7 dark. I don't know what kind. I guess it doesn't really matter. You can only use the first section of this card, can be activated in the same chain during either main phase. Target one non-machine Vanquish Soul monster you control, return it to the hand, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. Very cool. Normal summon, search. I'm sure this is not a warrior. Search. Oop, bring it out. You can reveal a monster in your hand. You can dark. You can draw a card, and then Earth and Fire is inflict 500 points of damage or 1,500 points of damage. That's 3,000 points of damage, like off rip, right? You bring this out turn 1. It's a little underwhelming for sure. I mean, drawing a card's nice. Don't get me wrong. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you can draw a card, turn it into the link 1. The link 1, I think, adds back. I can see it. That's not the most exciting card in the world, obviously. This is, and its stats are 2,500, so yeah, it's kind of like just average. If it was 3,000, I'd be like super interested in this card, but it's only 2,500 attack, which I think makes a big difference. You can only use first and second effects. Can't be activated in the same gene. Normal special summon, you can add a Vanquish Soul spell trap. Okay, great. And then you can reveal, right? Dark, make one of your opponent's monsters lose 500 attack and defense. Dark and Earth, return the monster with the lowest defense on the field to the hand. Your choice if tied. So this is 2000, 15, 19, 15. Yeah. I mean, it's a quick effect, so that's pretty neat, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I guess it could work for you too. You return like one of the attributes that you need to the hand, and that could work out pretty well, obviously. I guess I think Nibiru has really low. Just saying, like, theoretically, you could just like reveal in your hand, put Nibiru back in your hand if you wanted to do that. I don't know. I mean, I guess light isn't actually good in this deck, so because I'm pretty sure Nibiru is a light monster, right? You would think it would be Earth, but for some reason I think it's a light. Yeah, it's a light. How random is that? How is this not an Earth? It's a rock. Anyways. This is Vanquish Soul Pluton. During your opponent's turn, while you control no monsters in your main monster zone, or you only control a Vanquish Soul monster, you can special summon it. Very neat. I think it definitely needed an extra special summon there. You can reveal a monster in your hand. Quick effect. Fire. Gains 300 defense. This card gains 3,000 attack. Oh, okay, at 0 attack and defense. Yeah, some of these are pretty underwhelming, to be honest with you. I mean, this one's just like inflicting damage and drawing a card. I mean, this one I think is going to have a lot more application. Like, this one is just like gaining attack. And it is a free body, so maybe you play like one of them as the extender because it's like super easy to bring out. But that's a bit unfortunate. And this is Vanquish Soul Kaiser Various. Interesting, okay. During your either main phase, you can target one non-dragon Vanquish Soul monster you control. See, I don't know. This one's zombie. I don't think any of the other ones are dragons, so I guess basically just not itself. Return it to the hand, and if you do special this card. So they do have that little bounce effect, which is good. You want to have those cards in your hand, obviously. Quick effect. Earth. This turn, this card is unaffected by your opponent's activated card effects. 3,000 attack is very nice. Earth, Fire, and Dark. Destroy one other card on the field. I just think this is going to be such a hand trap heavy deck, you know. Maybe you're playing Bestials, you're playing DD Crow, you're playing Ash, you're playing Ghost Spell. And it's kind of just like hand trap the deck. Yeah. This is pretty good. Quick effect destroying a card is amazing. You're not losing any cards to destroy it, but you do have to have those in your hand, which I think is definitely helped by this card. Rock of the Vanquisher. While you control a Vanquish Soul monster, your opponent cannot target your monsters for attack except your monster at the highest attack. Well, that's nice, especially as a Link 1. It's very, very good. And you also have those ones that if you control no monsters in the main monster zone. During either player's main phase, you can apply one of these effects. Special summon a Vanquish Soul monster from your hand. Add one Vanquish Soul monster from your graveyard to your hand. That's nice, because during your turn, you can add something back to have it in your hand, and then you get to bring it out again, right? Every time that you special summon, I think, like this one, you can add a spell and trap, and then the other one lets you add a monster, and this is definitely your best play starter, right? You get to add one of the attributes that you need to your hand, and then you just have it back in your hand. You can do it again, right? So you're going to be able to add at least 2 of the attributes that you need, as long as you normal summon, right? This is normal summons. Link, bring back to the hand. During your opponent's turn, special summon it, bring another one to the hand. Very nice, very nice. And this one's a quick effect too. The dragon one's a quick effect. Is the other big one also a quick effect? Yeah, okay, it is. I can get behind. I haven't read a bad card. I think the only one that's just a little kind of just not good is this one. Other than that, I can't say that any of these effects are bad. I do think the column thing's very interesting, because now that I think about it more, you get to bounce them to the hand, so then you get to kind of choose. Look, yeah, this is good. This is very good. Okay, this is Vanquish Soul Gustable. Like I'm saying that wrong. Target a Vanquish Soul monster you control, change its battle position, then change face-up monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position up to the number of Vanquish soul monsters you control with different names. So you only target one to change the battle position, but you can flip them up to the number of Vanquish soul monsters you control with different names. Probably Book of Moon, right? It seems like you're kind of just having that like one body out there, and then you just kind of like go off during the next turn. But I could be wrong. These are just my initial things. But that's, you know, a searchable Book of Moon. Book of Moon's a very good card. Like, it's super underrated all the time. So the fact that you have one in Archetype that you can grab essentially every single turn, you know, you just like keep adding the one that adds spells and traps. And the Link one facilitates that. This is Vanquish Soul Continue. I think this is based on like a fighting game or something. Pay 500 life points. Then target one Vanquish Soul monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, or special summon it in defense position. Again, just like an in-archetype Monster Reborn, which you definitely can't complain about. Or you get to add it to your hand. So, I think these are cards that you're playing a little bit less of. Like, you're not running 3 of these because you don't... This one you're probably running... I could definitely see you running 3, especially as a quick effect. I mean, this one is 2, but... This is like a hard once per turn, and it kind of seems like you're like bouncing it back to your hand a lot. You know, maybe you play this at 2, or I think you could probably get away with 1, just that it's so searchable. You know, it's just so easy to get to your hand. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Just doesn't last that long. Like, I don't think you need to activate this twice. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, that's super possible. It just doesn't seem like a card you're going to run at 3. Especially because the Link one already recurs. Vanquish Soul Trinity Burst. Target one Vanquish Soul monster you control, especially from your hand, 2 Vanquish Soul monsters with different names and whose attributes are different from the target, but their effects are negated. Also, return them to the hand during the end phase. Then you can return all cards your opponent controls that are in the same column as the target and the special summon monsters to the hand. Alright, I gotta read that one more time. Okay, targeting a Vanquish Soul monster control. Okay, special summon 2 with different names and attributes. Okay, but it's got to be different from the one on the field. Does it say up to? No, it says you have to have 2. That's a bit unfortunate. But like, you can set it up with that normal summon, so... But their effects are negated. Also, return them to the hand during the end phase. Then, you can return all cards your opponent controls that are in the same column as the target and the... Okay, so you bring out 2, and everything in those columns gets returned to the hand. That's super powerful. Even if they return the hand, that's good. Like, you want to have those things reveal in your hand. Plus, this is like Pot of Greed, right? The one that lets you draw one. Like, the more you think about it, right? It's just got to be a dark monster too. I can dig that for sure. That's kind of nuts. And this says when your opponent activates a spell, trap, or a monster effect that targets a card you control, you can negate that activation. If you do destroy it, then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of one Vanquish Soul monster you control. I mean, maybe you run this at 1. Like, I mean, I guess you would definitely be surprised at like how much removal is still targeting like to this day, but it just seems like a trap card. Like, you kind of, if this was a quick play spell, I'd have a completely different attitude about it. I wish it just said monster spell, and you know, of course, just like Infernity Barrier, but it's not. But I'm pretty stoked for this. I think this is one of the better archetypes that I've read in a long time. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.